Louise du Toit, musician and recording artist, speaking out on behalf of the Seals of Num, a small yet dedicated organization fighting to end one of the most iniquitous, reprehensible acts of mass cruelty on earth, the annual Namibian seal slaughter. Anyone who knows me also knows that I'm an animal lover at heart, and that I cannot abide cruelty in its many forms. I am truly saddened that in this modern day and age, the Namibian leaders and decision makers have chosen to ignore science, economics, and the international voice of reason regarding their wonderful seals, and have instead decided to continue with one of the largest slaughters of marine mammals on Earth, and the largest slaughter of wildlife in Africa. Each year, over a period of 139 days, a quota of 80,000 pups are said to be slaughtered for their fur. This takes place at two main locations, namely Cape Cross and Wolf Atlas Bays. At the crack of dawn, men armed with pick handles will invade the beaches, disturb the entire breeding colony, forcibly separate the pups from their mothers, and violently beat as many of these animals to death as they can before 9 a.m. Video evidence confirmed that after having been clubbed, many pups are still alive and conscious when they are then stabbed in the throat to bleed out. As the seal stampedes towards the safety of the sea, heavy bulls crush any young pups that get in their way. Pregnant females become so distraught, they regularly self-abort, while the unweaned pups, who are still dependent on the teat, will vomit up their mother's milk in fear. The pups are beaten to death rather than shot, as a bullet costs money, and the hole it creates reduces the value of the pelt. From 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. the beaches are cleaned up of any blood, so as to hide this disgrace from unsuspecting paying tourists who arrive from 10 a.m. onwards to view what remains of a once majestic seal colony. The bitter irony of this situation is that Cape Cross is a designated seal reserve, an area where the seals ought to be protected. A further quota of 6,000 adult bulls is set. Because their skulls are too thick to be crushed with a pick handle, these animals are instead shot in the face from a point-blank range. Their fur is too coarse to be used by the fashion industry. They are slaughtered so that their penises can be exported to the East, where they are then made into ineffective sex potions, thus fueling an illegal trade in animal body parts for fake medicines. In a desperate, last-ditched attempt to end this horrific carnage, and after having exhausted all other appropriate channels, including pleading with the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources, the Ministry of Environmental Affairs and Tourism, the Namibian SPCA, and the Directorate of Environmental Affairs, the Seals of Num finally met with the Namibian Ombudsman in September of 2011. Quoting from Namibian legislation, it was pointed out to the government that they are violating their own law. The Namibian Animal Protection Act clearly states that it is an offence to ill-treat, neglect, infuriate, torture, maim or cruelly beat, kick, goad, or terrify any animal. In July of 2012, and through a bizarre twist that defies any sense of logic, the Namibian Ombudsman, Advocate John Walters, ruled that a seal is not an animal and is thus excluded from any benefits provided under the Animal Protection Act of 1962. This to me is so utterly ridiculous and so morally wrong that I'm asking you to join me and several other leading South African personalities, including Miss South Africa 2010, in supporting the Seals of Nums campaign, calling for a consumer boycott of sport, produce and tourism against Namibia, until such stage as the seal massacre is permanently ended. I am also calling on the Namibian government to rise to the challenge in finding a more economically rewarding ecotourism around their wonderful seal colony. I believe this will be a positive move in line with international sentiment, and one that the Namibian people can truly be proud of, as opposed to the current situation, where the seal slaughter is nothing but a national disgrace.